Слава Богу, я.
We're prepared to open the service for Mrs. Phyllis Bauer. If any of you have a cell phone or any other noise-making device, I request please that you turn to the off position. Officiating today will be Rabbi Barry Schechter.
Mismole David, Adonai, mi yagum yalecha, mi yishkon behar kadshecha, holech tamim, afoel tzedek, bidover emet bilvavo, lo regale לשונה, לא עשה לרעהו רע, וחרפה לא נשא על קרבו. נבזה בעיניו נמאס, ואת יראי אדוני יכבד, נשבע לו הרע ולא ימיר, כספו לא נתן בנשך, ושוחד הנקי לא לקח. עושה לא ימות לעולם. God, who may abide in your house, who may dwell in your holy mountain, those who are upright, who do justly, who speak the truth within their hearts, who do not slander others or wrong them or bring shame upon them, who give their word and come what may do not retract, who do not exploit others, who never take bribes, those who live in this way shall never be shaken. Dear friends, we're here for a sad and difficult occasion to say goodbye, which is one of the most difficult things that we can ever do, but also to pay tribute and to honor the memory and, even if possible, to celebrate the life of Phyllis Bauer, who has gone to her eternal rest at the age of 90 and a half. The daughter of Pearl and Louis, Label and Pearl, who leaves behind a family and friends who loved her very, very dearly. First, I should mention her life's partner, her husband Paul, to whom we said goodbye a few years ago. They were married for 59 years. But the family who is here or with us online, as it were, Larry, son Larry, and son Bruce, and his Elena, and Eileen. I know and I hope you can hear and see us. And the grandchildren, Cassandra, Carly, and her Tim, Cody, and of course the late Cameron, and great-grandchildren, Joshua, Brendan, Emily, and Bryce Sophia, and the siblings, of course, Jeff and his Penny, and Rita, and her late husband, Isidore. And we're going to begin by hearing from the family. I think, Larry, you're going to speak. So I invite Larry to come and talk to us about Phyllis, about his mother.
Thank you for everyone that's come today. My mom, no matter what, was always there for me, Bruce and Eileen. And even at times I didn't deserve it, she was there for me. None of us were ever she was always here for us. I guess it's kind of hard how to say it. But when I was in college, if something was going wrong, I could call her and she'd listen and she'd be there. When I had some surgeries, my mom took me to the surgeries. I had some foot surgeries and I couldn't obviously drive. Remember my brother when he had a major surgery in I think 1992. We drove down to University of Chicago and she was there the whole 8 hours. We just sat there. No cell phones to play with. We just sat there and waited. But she was there for me, Bruce, Eileen, all the time. I luckily still have a lot of the pictures from my mom and dad's life. And it's hard to realize I can never call her again. And tell her I love her. Because I always will. I always love them both. They were, like I said, always here for us. There was nothing we could do that they wouldn't have been by us. I'm known as the big talker, so I think I'm not going to do a lot of that today. I just want to thank you all for being here and thank you for your condolences for my mom. She was a great person. You know, she taught school. She worked at Niles West. She was a member of ORT lots of things that she did. She was a very active, as I always like to say, ornery woman. She was not going to be stopped from whatever she wanted. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Larry, for those lovely words about your dear mother. And now we're going to hear from Eileen, we're going to hear from her electronically, as it were. So please give your attention to Eileen.
Phyllis Estelle Bauer, formerly known as Rappin. She used to say, if you meet someone with the name Rappin, they were probably family, and she was right. What can I say about my mom? She was so many things to so many people. She was a wonderful wife, an amazing sister, a fantastic mom, and a loving grandmother, and just Bubby to the smallest of us. She also was a great aunt and a terrific friend who could start up a conversation with anyone. And to her Niles West family, she was that old bat. She lived a life of service, being on school boards and many committees, spending countless weekends at Ed Red meetings. My mom may be gone, but will definitely not be forgotten. When I would walk into her room, she would have this great big smile on her face. And when I would call her on the phone to see how she was doing, she would ask me, how are you? Is everything okay? Always thinking of me first, always ending the conversation with, give everyone hugs and kisses for me. I will talk to you in a couple of days, even though she knew I would be calling her tomorrow. And on her last day on earth, when I went into her room to see her, hugging the teddy bear that her granddaughter had given to her, with her purse by her side, given to her by her other granddaughter, filled with pictures her great-grandchildren had drawn for her. And next to her on her bedside table were pictures of all her children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, and many other family members. Just shows how important we were all to her and how much she appreciated us all. I love you, Mom, and will miss you every day until we meet again. So, Mom, I know you are hugging your grandson, Cameron, dancing with Dad, eating onion rings, drinking milkshakes, and enjoying those all-you-can-eat buffets in heaven, because you know we don't have them here. Goodbye, Phyllis. sister, mom, grandma, bubby, and friend. Rest in peace. We will always love you.
Very nice, perfect.
Thank you very much, Eileen, for those inspiring words as well. And now we're going to hear from Jeff, who will speak to us about Phyllis, his sister.
Well, it's hard to beat the words that Eileen just said. Very, very well done, Eileen. Thank you very much. And Phyllis knew me from the moment I was born, correct? And she was 13 years older than me, and my sister Rita 11 years older. So I was the prince that came later. And they never used to stop teasing me when I was young about the fact that instead of being able to be out with their friends doing things, they had to take little Jeffrey to the park to put him on the swings or to put him in the merry-go-round or what have you, and that was just a pain for them. But they did it, and they did it with love and with caring. For all of you who have siblings, I'm sure you've had moments where you said, oh my God, I hate my sister. I hate my brother. I wish I never knew them. I never, ever, ever, ever had that feeling with Phyllis. She always cared for me. She always did things for me. When I was growing up, she left the house when I was 7. So we didn't get a lot of time to spend together. I remember the marriage in 1956, her marriage to Paul at Road Vyzetic in Hyde Park. And on that day, she did one of the greatest things that anyone has ever done for me. Sorry. She married one of the nicest people I've ever known in my life. Paul. You know, you prepare for this, and then when it comes, it's hard. Lots of things I want to say. Our lives were really separate for a long time because she married Paul, moved to the south side, lived there for a while, and then moved ultimately to Skokie, where we got to see each other more again. And we used to have lunches Saturdays or Sundays at Jack's and Tui in Skokie, where we would catch up with our lives. And you're right, she loved the onion rings. She always had to have them. And then as we grew up and had kids of our own, we didn't spend as much time together, but we spent time together on holidays, whether it was a Passover or Thanksgiving, always having family get-togethers at her house or at my sister Rita's house or at our house. And those were the great times. And I think I was at that point, closer to Larry and Bruce and Fred and Mark and Eileen and Jill than I was to my sisters, because they were maybe more things in common at that point. But Phyllis was always there. As Eileen said, she would call, how is everything going? What are you doing? She would never, ever, ever forget a birthday for somebody, and there were always cards. Always cards that she would send to everybody. It's something that I unfortunately never was able to do. But she did it. She was so much like my mother in so many ways. She was very active with organizations, whether it was ORT or the school district or whatever. She loved to do it. She just did not want to just sit home alone. When the kids were grown and out of the house, she didn't just stay home. She was out doing things and getting involved and working tirelessly for so many organizations, and that's what I remember about her. the last few months have been pretty tough. For all of us have been pretty tough. For her in particular, but she's in a better place now. She's, as Eileen said, she's with her husband. Maybe she's dancing with Cameron. Phyllis, God bless you forever and ever. I'll always think about you. Always, always, always deepest in my heart. God love you. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff, for those lovely, lovely words. I knew Phyllis from Congregation Colemeth. You said she was actively involved. I don't think she was capable of not being actively involved. From knowing her, seeing her there, and learning about her when I did the service for Paul a few years ago, and just talking to all of you now, I've spoken to, I think, just about everyone, to Larry and Bruce and Eileen and Jeff and Rita as well. Anyway, at Colemeth, she was a member of, don't get the wrong idea, the PAC committee. This is nothing to do with politics. It's not a political action committee. It's the program and activities committee, quite apolitical. And she was there, and she was there at every meeting. And if you asked her to do anything, you knew you had a copper-plated guarantee that she would do it. There was no way that she wasn't going to do what she said she was going to do and complete the task. That's the kind of person she was. She was utterly, utterly devoted and utterly reliable. And that's how I knew her. When I spoke to you about growing up, of course, you told me that she grew up in Albany Park. She went to Von Steuben, and she went to Roosevelt University. It may have been Roosevelt College then. And she was active there as well. The student body there, she was the secretary. And guess who was the president? Harold Washington was the president. And they knew each other very, very well. And in fact, when he became mayor, you told me they showed pictures of him in his early life. And so you saw the picture of her when he became the mayor. Rita was telling me, Rita worked at Niles North. Rita worked at Niles North. You know the saying, don't you? About Niles East, West, and North. East is least, West is best, and North has air conditioning. I'm sure you've heard that. Right? I'm not wrong about that.
Different saying at Niles East.
You did? Is it repeatable in polite company?
East is best, West is least, and we don't care about North.
I see. Well, that's good also.
There's a different word. But
it's a different word. It doesn't rhyme, that's the thing. Anyway, so Rita worked at Niles North. And she would get Phyllis sometimes to come sub for her. And she liked it, and she was very good at it. And then the position opened up at Niles West. And she was there for over 20 years. She worked in the guidance office. You know, people had to go through her to see the guidance counselor. And everyone knew her. Everyone knew her, of course. She was active. You know, I'm going to keep saying she was active because she was active in just about every arena imaginable. She was active in the union. As you told me, when they went on strike, guess who was on the cover of the Skokie Review holding up a placard saying on strike? Phyllis. Now, I asked you about cooking. You have mentioned Eileen mentioned the various health foods. Onion rings, I think milkshakes, and best of all, the all-you-can-eat buffet. But when I asked you about cooking, you said she made very nice lamb chops and French toast, and on Thanksgiving, the turkey was wonderful. But you also told me about her determination. Because listen, she had 3 children. She has 3 children. And this was after the gynecologist told her that she couldn't have any children. Am I right? Larry, you told me this. And so she had 3 children. And when she'd had the 3rd, she said to the doctor had told her she was not going to have any children. She said to him, "Now I'm done." So she had a wonderful triumph there, creating a family of whom we have you here, and two, Bruce and Eileen are watching and listening and with us. She was a great Cubs fan, and it's nice that she lived to see, we only had to wait 106 years, and she lived to see that. By the way, there are some graves here when after the Cubs won, I don't know if you know this, there are some graves here, I'm not making this up, where family members would come if someone had died, say, a year before the Cubs won, and they've actually put on the grave a Cubs sign, and it says, "I'm sorry, I couldn't wait any longer." But we don't need to do that now because Kanena Hora, she lived to see the Cubs win. She loved theatre. She and Paul went to the theatre, right, at the Marriott, at Goodman, Drury Lane, North Shore Centre for Performing Arts. And I was told this last time, that there was a summer theatre group, a community theatre, in which Paul would set things up, right? This was for District 219, and Phyllis actually would act. She would travel. They went to England, which makes me very happy. They went to Germany when you were living there, and there was an Israel trip. I think, Jeff, you took her to Israel. Was it in 2000? A wonderful, wonderful trip that she loved, and it's wonderful that you took her. Now, they also enjoyed later on going on trips where you didn't know where you were going. I don't mean that you were absent-minded and stumbled around. I mean, these were mystery bus tours, and they loved doing that. You also told me, this I didn't know, that there were cats. You had cats, correct? There was a cat called Whiskers, which was her favorite. And apparently, Larry, you once woke up when you were on the south side and Whiskers was asleep on your chest, apparently. So you had a very intimate relationship with Whiskers. And then there was Smitty, and then there was Midnight. I've heard about Ort, how active she was with Ort. The license plate on her car read Ort 56. It's yours now, right? You have it now. She bowled, and she won several trophies early on. You told me something else about the children, Larry, you and the others, that you could talk to her and you could tell her anything and she wouldn't be judgmental, she wouldn't judge you, she would listen and she would talk to you, which is a wonderful thing. I wish all parents could do that with their children. On a trip, if they saw anything that one of you would like, she would bring it back, right? You would get a gift. Now, she also, Rita told me this, and none of you told me this, that she did wonderful needlepoint. Were you aware of this?
I have them all.
Yes. You have them?
Yeah.
Well, Rita told me she has them. You better sort this out.
She has some and I have some.
Oh, that's okay then. In fact, one of them was a picture of a rabbi, and Rita says when she goes past on the wall, she sees it and she thinks of her. So we have this lady, this lovely lady who's Jewish, who was involved. She was involved in anything to help people, to make people's lives better, to love her children, to love her grandchildren, to always be there. She was loyal. I think this is a marvelous example of someone who not only wants to do the right thing, but does it and can be relied upon to do what is right and to join organizations. When you told me about everything she was in, I said, this is the Energizer Bunny, You're raising 3 children and managing to do all these other things, either before, during, or after. She's at peace now. Although, we don't know what happens to us after we go. Jewish scholars and rabbis have debated this for centuries. And I think I've mentioned this before to some of you. I've been asked to give talks on the afterlife. Never by Jewish organizations, by the way, just by Catholic churches for some strange reason. And I've spoken about, and the Catholic Church will say to me, will you tell us the Jewish view of the afterlife? And I say, if you say Jewish view in the singular, you know nothing about Jews, because there's not Jewish view, there's views. We argue with each other, we contradict each other. And Rambam, Maimonides, who's the greatest commentator of all, is so Jewish, he's so Jewish, he doesn't need anyone else to contradict him, he contradicts himself. So we don't know. We don't know what happens afterwards. But, however, I should say, I won't say if, there definitely is, we just can't understand it. Some kind of life afterwards. She is already involved. She's already involved. If there are committees there, wherever it is or however it is, she's running them, she's doing things. From Eileen, I know she's onion rings, milkshakes, all you can eat buffets, no question about it. But in the sense that we can understand, she is at peace now. And what will remain will be marvelous, marvelous memories. You have pain, you have grief, you have a terrible loss. And yet, as time goes on, the pain never goes away completely. It diminishes, even if that seems impossible now. But what will grow will be these wonderful memories of this remarkable, wonderful Jewish lady who enriched so many lives, including mine and my synagogues. Of her I say, Tehei nishmata tzrura b'tzror hachayim. Chayim means life. May her soul be bound up in the bond of everlasting life. And to her I say, Phyllis, Lechi v'shalom. Go in freedom, go in peace. Habalech Gan Eden, may your repose be in paradise. You will never be forgotten. You'll always be remembered in love by those who knew you and loved you, and those whom you knew and you loved. Amen. And now we're going to read the 23rd Psalm. If you open these, I hope you have these. Open these, and it's on the left at the top of the page. Let's read together. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Could I ask those of you wearing the ribbons, either here or wherever you are, if you are wearing a ribbon, if you could, at the bottom of the ribbon, just tear a little bit. So the horizontal part of the bottom, just tear up, or if someone can help you, yes, just a little bit. And I'm going to say a bracha with you now, a blessing. And if Bruce and Eileen can hear me, I hope they can join in this bracha, the blessing. Do you want me to try? Yeah. Okay. So I'll say the bracha with you, with the two of you, and with the two people who are watching. It's not on the card, but just look at me. It'll be fine, because the beginning of the bracha, you know, Baruch Atah, and so on. So we'll start that way. Baruch Ado Elo Melech Haolam Dayan Ha'emes, which means blessed be the true judge, and that's what we say when we suffer a loss. Eil Mare Rachamim Shalchein Bamramim Hametzei Menochen Echona Tachat Kanefei Ashechina B'malach Kedoshim et Horim Kesawar Rakia Masihirim Et Nishmat Phyllis Bat Label Pearl Shalach Le'olama Bavor שאנחנו עולים לצדקה ועל הזכרת נשמתה בגן עדן תהי מנוחתה לכן בעל הרחמים יסתיריה ושאת כנפיו לעולמים בצרור רחם את נשמתה אדוני ונחלתה ותנוע בשלום משכבה ונאמר Amen. Compassionate God, eternal Spirit of the universe, grant perfect rest in your sheltering presence among the holy and pure who shine as the brightness of the firmament, unto the soul of Phyllis Bauer, the daughter of Pearl and Lewis, who has entered eternity and in whose memory we offer charity. May her repose be in paradise. O God of mercy, let her find refuge in your eternal presence, and let her soul be bound up in the bond of everlasting life. God is her inheritance. May she rest in peace. And let us say, Amen. And now we will conclude the prayer part of the service with the Mourner's Kaddish, which is on the back of these. This is for those who have the ribbons, who are in mourning, but anyone else can join. Please do join if you can. If not, you can respond. One of the responses, I'm sure many of you know, is very simple. When we say V'imru, you say Amen. We say V'imru, you say Amen. This happens several times. If you know the other responses, please join with them as well. We'll begin. Yit Gadal v'yit Kadash Shemei Rabbah V'alma divrach Yirutei V'amlich Malchutei V'chaye Chaun V'yameh Chaun V'chaye Dechol Beit Yisrael Ba'agala Uvizman Kariv V'imru Amen. Yehei Shemei Rabbah Mevarach Le'alam U'Lalamei Almaya Yitbarach V'yishtabach V'yitpa'ar V'yitromam V'yitnasei V'yithadar V'yitaleh V'yitalal Shemei Dekudsha Brichu Le'ela Min Kol Birchata V'shirata Tushbechata V'nechemata Damiran Bi'alma V'imru Amen. Yehei Shlama Rabbah Min Shemaya V'chayim Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael V'imru Amen. Oseh Shalom Bimromav Hu Ya'aseh Shalom Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael V'imru Amen. The gentlemen from the cemetery are about to lower the casket. Before they do, we have here earth from Israel. Jewish people traditionally want to be buried in Israel. Obviously not always possible. So this earth comes to us from the Har HaZeitim, the Mount of Olives in Jerusalem, ancient and sacred cemetery there. And I will sprinkle this on the casket before it is lowered. Now the gentlemen from the cemetery are going to lower the casket, and they will take this frame away and put a cover on, and then after they've done that, we will be able to put earth on with suitable security measures because of COVID, and if people want to place flowers on, they can do so as well. This will take a few minutes while they do this. If you want to sit down, it'll take a couple of minutes. If you want to sit down while they're doing it, by all means, please be seated. Perfectly okay. Excuse me, I just wanted to mention something else. Excuse me 1 second. At my congregation, the congregation that she went to, Kol Emeth, we are not having services in the building at the moment. We're having them on Zoom. And this Friday night, and this coming Saturday, Shabbat morning, before we say the Kaddish at the end, I read a list of people for whom there are yard sites, and I read a list of people who have passed recently, and I will certainly read Phyllis's name. If anyone wants to come to these services, you are entirely welcome. The Friday night one is at 8 p.m. That takes about an hour and a quarter, the service. The Saturday morning one is a little longer. It goes from 10 to noon. You are welcome to come to either or both. If you are interested, before you leave, I don't have a pen with me, but I'm sure we can find one. If you will write down your email addresses on one of my pieces of paper here, I will be sure to send you the link. Thank you. I'll be sure to send you the link so that you can join. You're free to come. You're free to join. You know, I have to let people in when they come in. But as I tell people, if the service is too long, I don't have to let you out. You can leave whenever you please. The Kaddish is usually towards the end. Anyway, so please, if you wish.
It's on your website too, isn't it?
I'm sorry?
It's on your website too, isn't it?
I'm not sure if it's on the website. I honestly don't know. I should check. We may be nervous about putting it on the website because sometimes, you know, people sabotage these Zoom things. So I just try to send it to people. But please, anytime if you want to.
People could email you and say.
Or they can email me, but you have to have my email. So
Is that on the website?
the one on the website is not the most useful one. So, but if you do, I will get it. It'll just be a bit of a delay. Anyway, but thank you for pointing that out.
I can ask everybody when they approach the grave to do the shoveling, please keep social distance. Do not approach until our groundsmen have walked away, please. We have to be very conscious of everybody. Thank you.
Yeah, so if you heard that. Yeah, use gloves for shoveling so that we don't transmit anything as one person puts the shovel down, the next one picks it up. Yes, so why don't I ask the most immediate family present, if you would like to come forward. Just be careful, the ground is uneven, don't go too close. Why don't you come along and Yes, why don't you do that? Okay, if you want some flowers, there's we have some. Thank you. Thanks very much.
Yes.
If you're having trouble putting them on, you can just wrap it around the shovel just so your hand is protected.
These are great. That's safe, you like.
One size fits all.
Funerals.
These flowers inside great. And by the way, Judy says hello. Oh, I'll show you. That's good. I'll show you. Very fine.
Anyone else would like to come forth and shovel?
There are 2 buckets, one on each side, as well as the shovels with the mitzvahs all the same.
Oh, but so they're not.
No, look,
I see.
look. Bill
Yeah, no, it's fine.
Bill before it was 3,000 packets. After the Bill no use, I don't know, 5 bills. Yes, before, is this one's copy?
And so,
Anyone else like to participate?
what was the book? Levinsky?
You can also text it to me because you have my text.
Oh, yeah, I can always check.
Yeah, you can
it's a
check.
long thing, so I don't know. What was this?
RES. Come.
Mine's real simple. Power915@comcast.net. When my friend hit on the link, she said she couldn't hear anything. That was the sound wasn't on yet, maybe?
The sound's been on the entire time.
I mean, even before you started? Before the service started?
No, when the service started.
Okay, yeah. Because she sent me a text that she hadn't, and I just thought to myself, once it starts, the sound will come out.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Friends, this concludes the service. We're going to hear where you can make memorial contributions. The director will tell us. But before that, I want to wish you all the Jewish New Year, Rosh Hashanah, is coming very, very soon. And this year, even more heartfelt than usually, there's a blessing in Hebrew. Techle Shana v'kilaloteha, Tachel Shana u'birchoteha. May the old year, with its problems, go, and the new year, with its blessings, come. I wish you all a healthy and a happy and a safe and a good year. And now we'll hear about the memorial contributions.
Memorial contributions we made to the American Cancer Society. It's P.O. Box 42040, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, 73123. The phone number is 800-227-2345, www.cancer.org. If you're going to send an acknowledgement, please send acknowledgements to the Bauer family residence. That's 1515 to the Rappin residence, 1515 Astor Street, Unit 24C, Chicago, Illinois 60610. Our service is concluded. Family should know no more sorrow.